I want to ask you a question, and I actually want you to answer it out loud. Nobody's listening, don't worry. When was the last time you walked into every room in your house on the same day? Not walked past it, walked in it, used it, sat down in it. For a lot of people I talk to here in Carmel Valley, the honest answer is somewhere between a few months ago and I genuinely can't remember. I'm Felicia Lewis. I've been helping families here buy and sell homes for almost 17 years, and I live in this community too. Today, I want to talk to you about something that almost nobody says out loud, because the house isn't the problem. The house has been wonderful. That's exactly why this is pretty hard. Let me be specific about who I'm talking to. I'm going to guess you bought this house to raise a family, and it worked. The schools were the reason you picked this zip code, and they delivered. Your kids grew up on that cul-de-sac. You have 20-something years of Thanksgivings in that dining room. And now the kids are grown. Maybe they're in LA, maybe they're across the country, and you're two people living in a house built for 5. Here's what I'm not going to do in this video. I am not going to tell you you're wasting money. You're not. You can probably well afford this house. You earned this house. If you want to own 5 bedrooms and use 2 of them, that is completely legitimate. And I've had a lot of homeowners tell me that that's what they want to do. And that's perfectly fine. So this video isn't about whether you can afford to stay. It's about something different. And I think more important, here's the shift I want to offer you. The question isn't, is the house too big? The question is, are you still choosing this house, or is this house now choosing for you? Because there's a big difference between staying somewhere because you love it and staying somewhere because moving just feels like too much work. Let me tell you the 3 things I hear most and want you to notice that none of them, are actually, I love this house. One starts with, it's paid off, so it's basically free. I do hear that a lot when I'm doing open houses, and I understand it. Nearly 60% of homeowners have no mortgage, but paid isn't actually free. Paid off means you have in this neighborhood maybe often well north of $1.5 million sitting in drywall, should we say, doing absolutely nothing. That's not a payment. That's an asset that is, might you say, sleeping? There's number 2 is there's nothing to move to, and this one is true. And I want to validate it because most agents won't. There is a genuine shortage of beautiful single-story, low-maintenance homes in great neighborhoods. And actually, researchers have a name for it. They call it the right-sizing gap. I'm going to make an entire video just on that because it deserves it. But, quote, hard to find and, quote, doesn't exist are 2 different things. And the difference between them is usually whether someone is actually looking on your behalf. Moving on to number 3, we need the rooms for when the kids visit. Okay, how many nights a year? Add it up honestly. For most families I work with, it's somewhere between 8 and 15 nights. Well, you're heating, cooling, insuring, cleaning, maintaining a wing of the house for about 2 weeks of occupancy. And here's the part that stings a little. The kids often say that they'd rather you had a place that was easy for you. But none of that is the real cost. Here's the real one. I read this research study on how older adults move, and the findings were consistent and kind of brutal. Most people don't move when they've decided to. They move when something forces them to. A fall, a knee, a diagnosis, a spouse who suddenly can't do the stairs. And when that's the trigger, you don't get to be strategic. You take what's available. You sell in whatever the market is at the time. And oftentimes you have like 4 weeks to empty 30 years of a house, and usually your adult children are doing it for you on a plane coming from somewhere or just unavailable in another state. I've sat with families on both sides of this, and I can tell you the difference between the family who moved at 62 because they chose to, and the family who moved at $79 maybe because they had to, is not a difference in money. It's a difference in, let's say, dignity. It's a difference in whether you got to pick. That's what the big house is costing you, not dollars. Optionality. Now let me give you two pieces of actual information because these are two beliefs that keep people stuck here, and one of them is just really outdated. First, the property taxes. I hear this constantly. I can't move, I'd lose my Prop 13 basis, and my taxes would triple. Well, good news, that is not true anymore. Under Proposition 19, which took effect in April of 2021, if you're 55 or older, you can transfer your existing property tax base to a replacement home anywhere in California. Not just in San Diego County, anywhere in the state. And you can do it up to 3 times. Used to be 1. And here's the part people really don't know. The new home doesn't have to be less expensive. Under the old rules, it actually did. Under Prop 19 now, if you buy something more expensive, you only pay the increased assessment of the difference. Your original base carries over underneath. So if you've been sitting in this house for 25 years, primarily because of your tax bill, I would genuinely encourage you to look that up. It may be the single most valuable thing in this video. All right, second, I hear capital gains. This one I'm not going to sugarcoat because it is a real obstacle here. The federal exclusion is $250,000 if you're single, $500,000 if you're married, and if you bought in Carmel Valley in the 90s, your gain is very likely much larger than that. So yes, there may be a very real tax bill. But notice what most people do with that. In fact, they don't calculate it. They just feel it and they stay. Get the actual number, bring your improvement records. Every remodel, every roof repair, every addition adds to your cost basis and shrinks that gain. And sit down with your CPA. I'm a real estate agent, not a tax advisor. I'll say it again. I am a real estate agent, not a tax advisor. But a number you've modeled is a decision. A number you're afraid of is, can we say, a cage? So here's what I'd actually like you to do this week. It costs you nothing and you don't have to call anybody, including me. Take a piece of paper, walk your house, write down every room. Next to each one, write the honest number of days the last year you actually used it. That's it. That's the whole exercise. Most people, I'd say, find that they're living in about 40% of their house and paying for 100% of it. Yes, but also in time, upkeep, low-grade weight of being responsible for a building that's bigger than your life right now. And look, you might do exercise and find out you use the whole thing. And some of you have a home office you're in every day, a garden you're in every morning, a guest room that's genuinely full 6 months a year. If that's you, stay. Truly, I'm not trying to talk you out of a house that you love and use. That's not what this is. But if you do that walkthrough and you find 3 rooms you can't remember being in, I'd sit with that feeling for a minute. And here's what I know after 17 years of doing this in this community. Nobody regrets moving a little early. Almost everybody regrets moving a little late. The house did its job. It raised your family. It was the right decision for 25 years, and it's okay for it to have been the right decision then and just a different decision now. Those aren't in conflict. If you want to know what your house is actually worth today, what a Prop 19 transfer would look like for your specific situation, and what your realistic options are in Carmel Valley and Del Mar, that's a conversation, not a commitment. There's no listing agreement, there's no pressure, there's no putting up a sign. I'll sit with you at your kitchen or dining room table and run your actual numbers. If the answer is stay, I'll tell you to stay. I'm Felicia Lewis and I live here too.